In this show, we explore the strange, the mysterious, the sometimes unsettling things in life. We ask questions, hope to get answers, and take you on a journey. And today we're starting with one of my favorite topics, 3I Atlas. 3I Atlas has fascinated us for months since it was first discovered. So, is it a giant iceberg? Or a potential sign of an alien civilization? Yesterday, NASA finally did a live stream where they said they had new images that were trying to answer that question. Their conclusion, it's a comet. Stay tuned because what happens next will blow your mind if you are fascinated by the mystery of 3I Atlas and want to see more amazing cosmic stories. Hit that like button and let the universe know you're watching. Every click helps keep the quest for the unknown alive. Comment below and let me know where you are watching this video from. I want to see what corners of the world are witnessing this along with me. We're always eager to find any trace of life beyond Earth. Just a few months ago, the team announced what they believe could be traces of ancient life on Mars. Clues sent back from rovers that have been quietly roaming the red planet for 3 decades. It's not just a scientific journey, but also an attempt to answer humanity's biggest question: are we alone in the universe? If confirmed, the discovery would be a historic one. But 3I Atlas tells a completely different story. Being a comet, it has caught the attention of scientists with a series of strangely unusual signals. Professor Avi Loeb of Harvard University has spent months analyzing and pointing out at least 12 difficult-to-explain points surrounding 3I Atlas. Details that make the research community wonder if there is something beyond the familiar natural framework. Before the new developments from NASA, he commented that this event needs to be closely monitored because the abnormalities of 3I Atlas can once again challenge our current understanding of interstellar objects and suggest bolder hypotheses about what or even who may be present in the vast space that humanity has yet to fully decipher. He said that when asked by NASA before the announcement what he expected from the event, he answered frankly that he did not expect too much news. According to him, NASA will most likely just repeat the familiar statement that 3I Atlas is simply a natural comet and that the prolonged data processing is a direct result of the recent government shutdown. His prediction of the new images is not much different from what Hubble recorded: a faint ball of light drifting quietly in space like countless other celestial bodies. He added that he still hoped for something surprising. But in the end, I was not surprised at all. And, as expected, what was released was just a collection of images from various NASA missions, along with a limited amount of spectroscopic data. These images, mostly blurry, did not provide many clues about the physical properties of 3I Atlas. Although some new details appeared on a small scale, they were completely insufficient to resolve the 12 anomalies that Professor Loeb had pointed out. More notably, the report also did not mention the big puzzles surrounding 3I Atlas, questions that he said NASA seemed to be avoiding or not ready to face. This has fueled further speculation. Is 3I Atlas really just a comet, or doesn't have the characteristics of an object being impacted by an unknown force, something that current astrophysics cannot explain? Some observers have even questioned whether NASA is releasing the data in its entirety, or whether something is being held back for internal verification. With the anomaly still unresolved, both hypotheses continue to emerge from the possibility that 3I Atlas is the remnant of a failed extraterrestrial technology, to the hypothesis that it is an automated observation station of an alien civilization secretly monitoring the solar system. The scientific community is divided between skepticism and optimism, but all agree that the newly released data is not enough to close a story. Instead, it opens up many big questions, forcing researchers to continue monitoring, analyzing, and waiting for upcoming observations. No one dares to confirm anything, but it is clear that 3I Atlas remains one of the most mysterious objects to have passed through near-Earth space. And, perhaps, the debate has only just begun. He emphasized that the available data show that 3I Atlas possesses two remarkable features that NASA seems to be avoiding mentioning, even though they could determine the entire nature of this object. First, its size and mass far exceed any interstellar object ever recorded. Based on current estimates, 3I Atlas's diameter is so large that its mass is thought to be 1,000,000 times greater than Oumuamua and 1,000 times greater than 2I Borisov. Given the extremely scarce matter in interstellar space, the question arises, if the existence of objects as small as Oumuamua or Borisov is so rare, then why have we not observed 1,000,000 Oumuamua or 1,000 Borisov before the appearance of a giant object like 3I Atlas? It is a great paradox, but NASA does not mention it at all. Not only that, but 3I Atlas's orbit also surprisingly aligns with the ecliptic plane, the plane where all the planets of the solar system orbit. Coincidence, maybe. But this is exactly the kind of orbit that makes 3I Atlas a perfect observational target for all of NASA's major telescopes. What's strange is that while this is one of the most striking anomalies, the official reports still make no mention of the rarity or potential consequences of this alignment. NASA's neglect of these basic questions has fueled speculation not only in the scientific community, but also in the global military, political, and economic spheres. Some analysts have suggested that if 3I Atlas is indeed not a natural object, major powers may be secretly competing to gain the upper hand in deciphering it. If it is some kind of artificial structure or derived from extraterrestrial technology, the first country to obtain the data could have an unimaginable military advantage. This has led to rumors that some countries are secretly sharing or even seizing important observational data before it is made public. Many have also suggested that 3I Atlas could impact commercial space programs, satellite advantages, or reshape the balance of power in the space resource mining industry. An object of this size moving in the exact orbital plane of the solar system could be associated with a kind of strategic flight path that other civilizations, if they exist, would have to use for navigation or observation. Some conspiracy theorists have even gone so far as to ask whether 3I Atlas's orbit has been tuned to attract human attention. If so, it could be more than just a random drifting object, but a signal, a survey, or worse, a form of surveillance we don't yet understand. All of this puts 3I Atlas at the center of a debate that is not only scientific, but also touches on the behind-the-scenes calculations of major nations. While the anomalies remain unexplained, 3I Atlas continues to be the most mysterious interstellar object ever observed, and the intense speculation surrounding it may not end anytime soon. The core problem, he argues, lies in the way NASA and some parts of the scientific community have approached 3I Atlas. They seem too eager to label it rare but familiar, as if it were just another variant of known comets. Instead of acknowledging its inexplicable properties, reports have tried to make it seem as if everything is in a safe, unsurprising mold. What he hopes is the exact opposite, that NASA will be upfront, about the fact that, despite our solid understanding of comets in the solar system, 3I Atlas has characteristics that are beyond our current understanding and that are therefore an incredibly exciting subject for future research. Only by acknowledging the limits of knowledge, he argues, can science truly move forward. What puzzles him is why scientists are so reluctant to say that there are things we cannot explain. Some experts say this stems from a culture of hypercaution in science, where any uncertain statement can be misunderstood, attack it, or unintentionally fuel conspiracy theories. But that avoidance makes the public more suspicious, as if something is hidden behind safe statements. Independent analysis has also suggested that there may be pressure from interests outside of science. In a context of increasingly fierce competition between great powers in space, the recognition of an interstellar object with unusual characteristics could have major strategic consequences. If 3I Atlas does indeed possess strange structures, strange materials, or signals that could suggest an unnatural origin, its data would immediately become the subject of interest for military intelligence and high-tech agencies. At that point, disclosure of the information would become a sensitive issue, possibly even triggering a race to control all observational data related to the object. Some of the more daring conspiracy theories suggest that major nations are secretly vying for the right to analyze 3I Atlas. If it contains previously unknown materials, or worse, the remnants of extraterrestrial technology, deciphering it could provide economic and military advantages far beyond any known mineral or technology. That would give nations an incentive to disrupt, delay, or obscure information to protect their own interests. Some even question whether 3I Atlas is an accidental stray or whether it is being deliberately steered into orbit to get closer to our solar system and observe us. It is this silence in the face of the anomalies that makes 3I Atlas all the more suspicious as an object that stands on the border between the familiar and the unnameable. And when science does not give a definitive answer, every information gap is immediately filled with speculation, debate, and even political ambition. 3I Atlas is therefore not just a comet, but has become the center of a story where science, power, and mystery intersect, making it increasingly one of the most fascinating and puzzling interstellar objects ever recorded by humanity. One of the most striking details, Avi Loeb said, was the strange behavior of 3I Atlas's tail. What startled many observers, including ordinary people, was that the tail kept changing position, sometimes appearing in front, sometimes moving to the back, sometimes very visible, sometimes completely disappearing. This is not the type of change that is common in ordinary comics, which usually follow the stable laws of solar wind and radiation. According to recorded data, as early as July and August, an anti-tail appeared pointing in the opposite direction of the usual tail. NASA later explained that the tail development was only observed for a very short period in September, and then by October 3rd, I Atlas completely disappeared from observation. When the object passed close to the sun, the captured images unexpectedly showed both the tail and anti-tail appearing at the same time, forming a rare and unusual structure. Theoretically, comet tails can form when dust or gas becomes ionized and is blown away by the solar wind. Some have suggested that 3I Atlas's tail could be an ion tail, which makes sense. But what's more surprising is that motion pattern, The Three-Eye Atlas's tail changes direction too quickly, too flexibly, and in ways that are difficult to explain by purely natural mechanisms. This anomaly has given rise to a number of bold hypotheses. Some experts suspect that Three-Eye Atlas's tail may be responding to an energy source other than the sun, or even to some form of propulsion. Some speculate further, suggesting that the anatail may be a technical signature similar to the exhaust of a spacefaring system. While there is no definitive evidence to support these theories, the unusual nature of the tail has led many to question whether the Three-Eye Atlas is actually a natural object. Some even doubt that the anti-tail only appears when the object changes modes of operation, similar to how a device changes states when accelerating or adjusting direction. These inexplicable developments are making Three-Eye Atlas the center of heated debates, where the boundaries between science, paranormal phenomena, and conspiracy theories are blurring. And as more data is collected, the story surrounding this interstellar object seems to become more mysterious and full of human curiosity. The phenomenon of anti-tails, pointing directly at the sun, and unusual jet streams continue to put Three-Eye Atlas in the realm of mystery that is difficult to explain. An amateur astronomer once recorded images showing the jets of material shooting out as far as soon million kilometers, and in one photo there are up to 7 jet streams separate. The strange thing is that these streams straight and accurate, without any blurring or drifting. Even though Three-Eye Atlas is thought to rotate on its axis every 16 hours, naturally, such a rotation should cause the JICE to wobble or drift slightly over time, but that is not what is happening. This unusual stability makes the phenomenon even harder to explain with conventional comet models. Some argue that this is just a rare physical phenomenon. Others question whether there is an unknown mechanism behind it. No one is claiming that it is a sign of technology or artificial dynamics, but there are clearly things about Three-Eye Atlas that current science cannot explain. Instead of claiming that everything is familiar, many argue that what is needed is an honest acknowledgement that this interstellar object still holds mysteries worth continuing to explore. The conversation turned to the topic of UAP on the occasion of the documentary The Age of Revelation coming soon. Though it's not expected to be released for a few weeks, it's actually released tomorrow, and it delves into the role of the government and what's being kept secret in UAP files. Asked about the current climate of UAP discussions as the United States enters the second term of the Trump administration, the expert said that the level of progress depends entirely on the key question whether the government is holding important information that the public is not aware of. If the answer is yes, the coming months could usher in greater transparency, bringing us closer to understanding the nature of these phenomena. Some lawmakers, like Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, are still working to move the process forward, including protecting whistleblowers so they can come forward with national security facts without fear of retaliation. However, the opposite scenario is also on the table. It is possible that what is being collected from the crash site is actually technology developed by rival nations. In that case, the fabrication of the alien technology story could be a cover-up by intelligence agencies to hide the extent of U.S. knowledge of the military capabilities of their rivals. This is a tactic not unheard of in history, where misinformation or ambiguity is used to protect strategic advantage. The geopolitical context adds to the tension. The United States is stepping up its space surveillance programs, expanding the budget for the U.S. Space Force, and increasing its activities in low Earth orbit. as part of its strategy to compete for global influence. In this context, is not only a scientific topic, but also directly related to territorial security, airspace control, and technological superiority, which Washington has always considered vital. This leads to the biggest question. Are the UAP incidents just a cover for a high-tech arms race between the superpowers, or are there really vehicles built by extraterrestrial civilizations and recovered from outside the solar system? The expert admits that he has not had access to any classified data, if any, so he cannot draw any conclusions. However, that lack of certainty opens up room for speculation and expectation. Amid pressure from the U.S. Congress, demands for transparency from the Pentagon, and growing public attention, the film The Age of Revelation could be the catalyst for a major change. The coming months could shape the future of the entire UAP debate in the United States, whether the final answer leads us to human-made technology or to something much more distant from space. The expert believes that no matter how long efforts to hide, delay, or obscure information last, the truth will eventually emerge. No government or organization can hide an interplanetary event forever. If there are strange materials, strange technologies, or artificial interstellar objects, they will be found sooner or later, because humanity's observational capabilities are expanding at an unprecedented rate. He likens this to a historical story. The Vatican tried to deny the truth, that the earth revolves around the sun, but eventually had to admit that Galileo was right, and apologize. Any effort to delay the truth is, in the end, just a delay. When asked if humanity could detect intelligent life beyond Earth, he confidently said yes. He said it would be arrogant to think that human civilization was the only pinnacle of technology in the vast universe. The mission of science is not to preserve complacency, but to open new avenues of exploration, including the search for both microbes and traces of technology. Yet NASA currently spends the majority of its budget on the search for microbial life, neglecting an equally important branch, the search for technological artifacts or signs of extraterrestrial intelligence. When discussing the direction that scientists should take, especially after the controversial observations of 3I Atlas, he emphasized that the most important thing is to expand the mental data set. Just as an AI system is only as smart as the variety of data it is trained on, astronomers need to be trained to see things as more than just comets or icebergs. There are about 100 billion stars in the Milky Way, and 10% of them have a planet the size of Earth. With such a huge number, it is reasonable to expect that there are technological artifacts, including things more advanced than what humans have created. In his figurative words, if you only include comets in the training set, astronomers will continue to call everything a comet. But if you add in patterns of technological objects, traces of engineering, man-made structures, then people have a chance to recognize something beyond the familiar pattern. It is a call to change our thinking, to broaden our horizons, and to boldly step outside of our comfort zones. Only then will humanity be able to recognize the signs of interstellar technology, ones that may have passed us by more than once, but have been missed. Because we didn't know what we were looking for. The question of when will we finally get a definitive answer about 3I Atlas is becoming a hot topic, as the unusual sequence surrounding this object has made it far beyond the typical comet model. The answer is given with caution, but no less hope that a decisive time will fall on December 19th, the time when 3I Atlas will make its closest approach to Earth. This is considered the only and best opportunity for humanity to directly and comprehensively observe all the characteristics of this mysterious interstellar object. On that day, a massive network of observers will officially go into action. Most ground-based telescopes in the Northern Hemisphere will be pointed at 3I Atlas, while Hubble and James Webb, two of humanity's most advanced instruments, will add data from spectral, infrared, and many other wavelength ranges. The information gathered is expected to far exceed all the data accumulated since 3I Atlas was discovered. From the structure of the tail and anti-tail, the rate of orbital change, the material ejected, to signals that can hint at internal structure, all will become the subject of detailed analysis. Many experts believe that in just a few days around December 19th, humanity will have collected more data than everything else known about Oumuamua and Borisov combined. This will be the scientific basis for determining whether 3I Atlas is a strange comet, an unrecorded natural object, or even something technological, as many bold rumors have suggested. But along with the excitement of discovery, many observers are also in a state of anxiety. The upcoming holiday season probably shouldn't come with such a gift from the universe. December 19th has not only attracted the attention of the astronomical community, Man Privato Surtoris, research organizations and commercial aerospace companies in the United States have also announced their participation in the tracking campaign. This makes it one of the most closely monitored events in the history of interstellar object observations. Some scientists call this 3I Atlas's prime time, because after this point, we will have enough basis to come to big conclusions and end or start new debates. Whether the final results are reassuring or surprising, December 19th is approaching a potential milestone in the history of space exploration. It may confirm that 3I Atlas is an anomaly in nature, but it also opens a whole new chapter in how we understand interstellar objects and, more broadly, our place in the cosmos